So let's take a look at the apps. You'll see here, as I mentioned previously, the apps are collected in what we call modes, and each mode is presented on the watch face. You can move between modes by either tapping the watch face or through directional swiping. Let's start by looking at the first mode. So here you can see we have a messaging application. It will show you a highlight of any messages that you've received since you last checked, and then tapping on the container you can actually open the full screen SMS application where you'll see your message and you have the option to send off a quick response. You also have a speed dialer, which is connected to your contacts configured through the companion device, and you have the ability to place a call directly. You also have the ability to check your local weather forecast. So moving on to the second mode, you'll see we have a collection of music controls. In this case, if you're connected to a companion or a device that's capable of streaming music and you have that service running, you have the ability to control the playback directly from your watch face. So in this case, I've got Spotify running on my Android phone, and you'll see I can open up the Now Playing view, and here I see the currently playing track with any full screen album art and the playback progress. I also have the ability to start and stop as well as forward and reverse track advance. So here I can control the play, I can skip track. I also have the ability to do these things directly from the watch face itself without going into the full screen container application. Again, I can pause, reinitiate playback, and skip track. You'll see that the third mode that I have here contains a set of fitness applications. So in this case we have a heart rate monitor, which will tell you just how you're doing. In this case I'm a nice cool 58 beats per minute. Looks good. We also have a step counter. In this case 1500 steps. It's early in the day, so obviously I've got some work to do, but that's okay. And you can see we also have a stopwatch. Simple function. It can start a timer. You can leave the application. You'll see it's still running and posting you updates directly to the watch face. And you can also, of course, stop and reset. So looking at our fourth mode, you'll see we have a collection of utility functions. So in this case, I've got a battery indicator that simply shows me how much juice I've got left on the device. We've got a countdown timer, which in this case has a cool rotary gesture that you can actually use to set the countdown timer, and then of course initiate with a clear display of exactly where you're at in the countdown. And then lastly we have a simple alarm clock, the standard Android alarm clock that's been directly integrated for the micro form factor. So looking at our fifth mode, you can see we've got some interesting IoT integration. So by selecting on the IoT control, you see we've got an integration for control of a light switch. In this case, it's an IFT recipe that's been integrated to allow the watch to trigger turning on a light switch somewhere in the house. Great for if you have a smart home or some other ecosystem that has the ability to control. We also have calendar integration, so you can see your day at a glance or drill down into a specific scheduled appointment. And of course, something that's been getting a lot of attention is the integration of Alexa voice services. So opening up the Alexa container application, you'll see you have the ability to do keyword activation or touch. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 10:29.
Alexa, what's the weather in San Francisco today?
Right now in San Francisco, California, it's 63 degrees with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast has mostly sunny weather, with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 55 degrees.
Of course, you can do silly stuff. Alexa, how many teaspoons in a gallon?
1 gallon equals 768 teaspoons.
I didn't know that, did you? But of course we can do useful things too. Alexa, trigger find my phone.
Sending that to IFT.
So here we have another IFT integration where Alexa is actually triggering the IFT recipe that's going to call my cell phone, assuming it's hiding somewhere in the house. Just so happens to be here. Thanks very much, Alexa. Okay, so moving on to the final mode that we have configured here, we have some embedded containers that actually just add face value. So we have some classic chronograph style dials that show you day of month, day of week, and in this case we have an embedded container that opens up to show you an alternate time zone. So there you have an overview of the apps on the system right now, but for us this is really just the beginning. As we continue towards production, we will be adding more apps, and we will continue to refine the experience on the device. For us, this has always been about creating a first-class smart wearable platform, and we trust you'll agree when you use it that the way that the CoWatch works, whether it be on its own or in concert with all of your connected devices, speaks to the attention to detail that has gone into its creation. Case in point, before I let you go, let's talk for a minute about notifications. Here you have access to any system notification that your iOS or Android device receives. But more importantly, you also have the ability to filter those notifications so that they remain meaningful and not cumbersome or intrusive. In this case, long pressing on my email notification will dismiss it, effectively blacklisting it so that it doesn't come back to clutter up my feed. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. We hope it's been insightful for you and that you'll continue to support us and partner with us through to delivery. Keep the feedback coming. The questions and comments have been great. As much as we like hearing about how much you love the watch, even more valuable is feel free to share your wish list of what you'd still like to see. So until we meet your wrist, cheers and thanks again for your support.